What up, what up, what up, what up, you two? Welcome back to another episode of Just Dropping In. We're dropping in on my boy Kevin. Trump won, y'all. You love it, hate it. He's in the office now, and he's got some plans. He's been speaking on some things, and today we're going to be talking about his plan to denaturalize a lot of the newer population of immigrants due to, the past administration opening the border. So let's get into it. Let's see about these details.
There are now warnings that, quote, no one is safe.
And actually, hold on. Before we get into it, I was told I should be doing this more towards the beginning of my videos and not just at the end. Go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button so you can keep coming back for more content and you can tell the algorithm that these are good videos. All right? Let's get into it.
Everybody should be worried about the potential denaturalizations and denaturalization discussions that might be getting supercharged under Donald Trump's new administration. In this video, I'm going to break down what denaturalization is. We're going to talk about, is this something that applies to you? What class of citizen are you? Are you a first-class citizen, or are you a second-class citizen? Citizen, not non-citizen. We'll talk about that. And we'll understand a little bit more why these discussions are coming up, as well as whether or not you should actually be worried about this. Now, keep in mind, I actually have my passport right here, and what's worth noting is that I was a naturalized citizen, which means I was not actually born in the country, which makes this particularly an interesting conversation for me because
with this plugin, you can make sounds
Come on,
that
Kevin.
nobody else
Come
is
on,
making.
Kevin.
Talking about
Early
output
with the
on
ads.
tape, baby.
Early with the
It's hard to
ads.
stand
It's
out
crazy.
when everyone's using the same stuff.
what if Kevin
Sorry,
is
y'all.
subject to this? I'll have to make these videos from back in my homeland, Germany. No, they're in a recession. Oh man, maybe that's where the Bears belong anyway. Anyway, let's get into this. So here's the thing. A lot of this discussion is going on because Stephen Miller, who worked with Donald Trump in the first Trump administration, has begun talking about plans for supercharging denaturalizations. And this has gotten people crazy on the internet. Jack P. writes, "We used to strip foreign-born anarchists and communists of their citizenship and deport them. Laws still on the books. Just planting seeds." That was in October of 2023. And in October of 2023 also, which is now revived because Donald Trump has won. Donald Trump hasn't brought this up again, but this is being revived and everybody's talking about it.
I'd like to correct my previous statement. Due to the title, I thought it was rhetoric. I mean, he has been talking about getting them up out of here, but this specifically is not coming directly from Trump. This update of turbocharging the project.
It's being revived because Stephen Miller wrote, "Yes, we started a new denaturalization project under Donald Trump in 2025. Expect it to be turbocharged." Well, 2025 is around the corner, and now we got to ask ourselves, what even is denaturalization? So here's how it works. When you come into the country legally, like I did, we ended up coming as temporary residents under a work visa. And in the future, after applying for it, we got what's known as a green card. This was through the INS, which was the Internal Naturalization Service. That was before the Department of Homeland Security was created in 2003. And I still have vivid memories of going into the INS office and the worker there taking my fingers and crushing them to take all my fingerprints. I don't know why it's such a vivid memory, but I've never forgotten it. And since then, we were all permanent residents. Now, after I was a permanent resident for many years, and a few years before I ended up getting married to my wonderful wife, Lauren, I ended up becoming a citizen by applying. I've been here for, I believe the requirement is 5 years, and I've been here long enough. I think I applied after, frankly, 10 years of being a permanent resident or more than that. And the reality is, got my citizenship approved after doing an interview, filling out an application, waiting for the period of time, not necessarily in that order. But then I became a citizen, which gave me an American passport as a dual citizen and the eligibility to vote in elections, be drafted, although I'm too old for that. Did you know the draft ends at 26? Anyway,
Yeah.
and obviously serve in jury duty. These are part of our civic duties. Well, that makes me a naturalized citizen. This is different from a birthright citizen. If you were born in the United States, you have citizenship through birth. And this would be considered, in the case of denaturalization, a first-class citizenship. The reason if you have citizenship through birth, it is considered first class is because it is enshrined in the Constitution. Natural born, essentially. Now, the second class citizenship, there really are no classes of citizenship right now, but the reason people suggest there might be a second class of citizenship is because if you were naturalized, then that could potentially mean, aha, you are subject to denaturalization. So what the heck is denaturalization? Well, the New York Times did a great piece on this all the way back in 2020. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the New York Times, but it gives you some background on what was going on during the Trump administration and this move to, quote, bring justice to terrorists, war criminals, sex offenders, and other fraudsters. Now, don't worry. The problem goes way beyond this, and there's a reason why, quote, no one is safe. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But basically, the Justice Department has a way of stripping people of their citizenship if they commit crimes.
Getting 8 ads every 20 minutes is actually diabolical.
Kevin,
the ad
no more
blocker that
ads.
actually works on Twitch, aka every user.
And
Sorry, y'all.
they have that second class of citizenship. In other words, they were naturalized. Now, what crimes could this potentially apply to? Like, if you run a stop sign, are you going to get kicked out? Probably not. It's probably going to apply to things like affiliates, those who support or work for a terrorist group, genocide and human rights abuses, serious criminal offenses like crimes against children, sexual offenses against children, or other violent crimes against children or other groups, fraud on your citizenship application, and just straight up terrorism. Now, why is this a concern for people? Because it kind of seems logical that if you are just not a terrorist, you might not have anything to worry about here. Well, the concern is a slippery slope, which unfortunately in politics, it is extremely common for people who support Donald Trump to listen to what Trump says and assume the best. And people who do not assume the best and don't like Donald Trump, they not only assume the worst, but then they embark on the slippery slope of fallacious argumentation of suggesting, oh, well, if he can take your citizenship away for doing a crime, that means no one is safe, because that means any crime could make you eligible for denaturalization and subsequent deportation as you lose your constitutional rights. Donald Trump is trying to strip your constitutional rights, and everybody should be shaking in their boots because a dictator's about to take over. That's an
said every Democrat, like, with a platform. Like every single one of them, every single Democrat with a platform had that rhetoric for some odd reason. And honestly, like I'm not on the I told you so side of things. I'm on the like I just want everybody to kind of like open their eyes a little bit, because it's like half the country voted for him, or more than half the country voted for him. All right? So the country's really split like a mug. You know what I'm saying? Well, I wouldn't say that. Granted, not all the votes have still been counted as of the time of this recording right now, so we don't know 100%, 1,000%, But pretty split. Kamala got, a good bit of votes, whether they're all real or not. She got a lot of votes. You know what I'm saying? But Trump won, right? And they're entirely like polar opposites. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a time for us to create more division. It's time for us to figure out why we're at this point of division, because there's a lot more things in common than we have differences out here. Even if whether you a white guy working in a plant somewhere down in Mississippi, or you're an Asian dude working in an office somewhere in New York, like there's a lot more in common than we have different. You know what I'm saying? And just wanted to point that out real quick.
Example of a slippery slope, but it's an argument that's actually being made right now. Now, I promise you, I don't want to bore you with this, so I'm not going to actually put you through all of this. In fact, honestly, I don't think I'm going to put you through any of it. But
so let's talk about the things that Trump has said he's going to do, or people close to him have said the administration's going to do. Number one is mass deportations of undocumented immigrants. The second is
denaturalization. We'll leave it there. I'm not going to go into it because honestly, this rambles on for like many minutes about denaturalization and how bad it is and how it's going to basically apply to everyone. The principle of a slippery slope argument is you take a basic argument and then you assume from there that, well, if they can deport terrorists because that's a crime, then they can deport people who kill people because that's a crime. And if they can deport people and denaturalize people who kill people and commit a crime, then they can do that to people who steal from a store. And if they can do that to somebody who steals from a store, then they can do it to somebody who runs a stop sign or has tinted windows or jaywalks. And then they argue the extreme. Anybody who jaywalks can get deported. That's not what Donald Trump has said. In fact, Donald Trump has never indicated any of that or...
Mo ads, Kevin. Jesus Christ, he trying to get paid, ain't it, my boy?
E-commerce
Shit,
store.
ain't even monetized yet out here. Make sure y'all like and subscribe.
He has never done that. In fact, here's some examples of deportations followed by, or denaturalizations followed by deportations in the past. New York Times wrote, someone helped revoke the citizenship rights of a Yugoslavian-born convicted war criminal who omitted from her naturalization application the fact that she had executed unarmed civilians during the 1990s Balkan conflicts. Okay. Did Obama pursue any denaturalizations? Yes. Obama did this too. And he didn't get the slippery slope arguments.
No.
Obama targeted people who lied on their applications and committed other crimes. So Obama did this as well. And yes, it is true, denaturalization applications, in other words, referrals for denaturalization, did ramp up under the Trump administration. Of the 228 denaturalization cases that were filed since 2008 going all the way to 2020, so in a 12-year plan, 40% of them, so nearly half, were during the Trump administration. In fact, in just those 3 years between 2017 and 2020, denaturalization cases skyrocketed 600%. So yes, Donald Trump does like denaturalization cases.
Yeah.
And they did, Stephen Miller at least, it's not Trump, but Stephen Miller does suggest they would ramp this up. Now, what's an example of a Trump naturalization or denaturalization case? How about when a naturalized citizen was denaturalized for recruiting people to Al-Qaeda in the United States and then also sexually abused a 7-year-old family member?
Oh, my God.
Okay, these are the most extreme examples that the New York Times could find to bag on Donald Trump. And unless you're executing unarmed citizens or recruiting people to Al-Qaeda and sexually abusing 7-year-olds in your own family,
then you should be fine.
I don't know
if you're
that
not
you
doing any
really
of that
need
shit,
to
you
be
should be
worried about
fine.
this, but it doesn't stop the the hyperbolic nature of the ACLU. The American Civil Liberties Union. The Trump administration has launched a denaturalization operation, a project to strip a large number of Americans from their citizenship. Denaturalization is a drastic measure that should be taken in the most extreme circumstances only. U.S. citizens can be added to a list of targeted individuals and thereby sending a message that no one is safe in America.
It's like the Dems
Lawful
lost the
permanent
election.
residents make-
The Dems lost the election and did not give up Project Mockingbird. Like Project Mockingbird, I'm fairly sure I haven't done all the reading into it, so don't quote me in on it. But just from getting some context clues, listening to a whole bunch of different people talk about different things, Project Mockingbird, I believe, is what like this whole push in the media from the left, like how it's like all the celebrities behind Kamala and like all this crazy rhetoric, like that's all feeding into Project Mockingbird. I thought it was gonna be over with after Trump won, but it seems like they're doubling down. So we got content, y'all. We got content.
They'd be scared to pursue citizenship because their lives could get destroyed and their citizenship could get taken away along with their rights. Okay, ACLU, I get it. You need some more donations here. But what about rights? Let's talk about rights for a moment and understand this. Could you lose constitutional rights by being denaturalized? And could people like Elon Musk be a victim of this? Or Melania Trump? Or my father-in-law? Or myself? Well, yeah, theoretically, yeah, because we're all naturalized citizens. But, okay, let's understand for a moment. If you get denaturalized, what kind of rights do you lose? Well, you may end up getting convicted, first of all, in a denaturalization case, in a trial of your peers, but there is a lower burden of proof required. And so this does make it a concern that potentially political enemies could use it against people they don't like to get them denaturalized. The burden of proof is not beyond a reasonable doubt for a denaturalization case. This is considered a civil case, and it's actually as low as just requiring a burden of proof of clear and convincing evidence. Then you could get denaturalized. And once you're denaturalized, you could actually potentially lose some of your constitutional rights, including your rights to due process, or quite frankly, your right to remain silent. See, once you're denaturalized, now you're no longer a citizen or a permanent resident, you might lose some of your constitutional protections and then get deported. Or worse, the slippery slope is now you don't have your rights and you're stuck here and they just beat you until you talk because you have to because you have no constitutional rights anymore.
God.
All of this, I think, is extreme. I am a naturalized citizen and I have zero concerns over this. All this seems highly overblown. Here's an idea. Just don't be convicted of, quote, clear and convincing evidence of sexually assaulting 7-year-old children in your family, committing genocide, or recruiting people into terrorism, or committing terrorism. And frankly, in that case, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
And if
you know what?
do some of
And
those-
honestly, if you were already on that type of time, doesn't matter if you were naturalized or not. You going, you feel me, under the jail. So it don't matter. But like, you all hear it right here. This is a naturalized citizen. He said he was from Germany, and he's not worried about being deported randomly or haggled or anything like that. So like, I truly believe that this push is to rectify this whole open border thing we've been screaming about. It's like, hey, listen, hey, we've been saying that we don't like all this newness, all this extra, you feel me, like million people, like 900,000 they said, but like million people, and like no resources for them. So we gotta send them home. We gotta send them back to their home. Biden said that we had something for them, but now you see New York kicking people out. You dig what I'm saying? Like California, I'm pretty sure is like cutting vouchers. So it's just like, we ain't got it, you know what I mean? So we gotta send them home. It's not racist, it's not bigot. It's just like, we got enough problems at home. Like, y'all just gotta go deal with it somewhere else. Like, we could maybe able to help y'all in 10 years. You feel me? But like, America gotta get its ish together right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, I tell people this on a personal level, you can't help somebody before you're able to help yourself. You dig what I'm saying? And like, it's being proved on the world stage. I don't know if y'all saw Putin speaking the other day, or I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, one of them. But like, oof, every time they translate Putin talking about America, it's just like, dog, when you hear somebody talking relatively intelligently and articulating what they see over here, well, it's like, man, like, yeah, it's coming from Russia, and it's like, yeah, we don't like Russia, but like, he's not spitting lies. You know what I mean? He's just speaking on the situation, and it's definitely ugly in the West. So we got another president. I'm against having a new president every 4 years. I think that's stupid. I think we should have a president for at least 10 years because it takes that long to actually affect real change. But I digress. We have a new president. Let's hope we see some change. I love y'all. Make sure you're kind to somebody today. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Make sure you hit that like button and that sub button if you haven't already. It tells the algorithm that this is quality content. And it makes sure you get that little notification as soon as I drop another video. All right? Back locked in. Again, I love y'all. Make sure you're kind to somebody. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one.